Pisces. Welcome to February 2022. All right, on February 3rd, Mercury goes direct. Thank God. And you're wondering, or you have been wondering through the entire Mercury retrograde, if it was friendship or more. And I think a lot of you are waking up to the fact that it was always friendship, but you just didn't want to see that. You wanted to see that there was more there. Now, if your heart really is ready to choose a direction and you feel like, no, it's definitely more, it's definitely romance, give it a couple of days anyway. Wait until the 11th, because between the 11th and the 13th, you have this crossroads issue coming to an end. For some of you, it really has been a much larger question, having to choose between perhaps two principalities, having to choose between two people, having to choose between a fork in the road in your career, and it, where you want to live. It hasn't been easy not being able to intuit the answers, especially because you're thinking, okay, Jupiter's in my sign now, things should be moving, I should know what to do, why is everything still so murky? Well, first of all, Jupiter is going to muddy the waters a little bit because it's going to create a lot of novel movement, right? So yes, things do get stirred up a little bit, but the good news is this period of vacillation now comes to an end, and you begin to see, no matter how much you were doubting yourself in the interim, you begin to understand that the indecision and the vacillating was really just Mercury retrograde. But also great that it happened, because you didn't jump to any conclusions and you didn't make any rash decisions, which you absolutely would have with utmost confidence, which is exactly how you guys make mistakes. You like to make mistakes with the utmost confidence. And that's why a lot of people don't realize that you make mistakes, because you make them in a way that people think that you meant to do whatever you're doing. Which is, it works, especially on stage. You are the consummate performer, and that is the quintessential stage direction. The show must go on. If you mess up and nobody knows you messed up, then you didn't mess up. Carry on, right? Now, or like every high school play director has said, they don't know the lines, only you know the lines. They don't know if you're messing up your lines, right? Now, there is a tendency, once you cease to vacillate and you pick a direction, there is a tendency to puff up so much with pride and self-importance that temptation becomes a real issue in your life. When you feel really, really good about you, it's as if you become a magnet for all of these really destructive elements that will be super fun, but will immediately eradicate all the progress you just made, ironically, which is what brought the thing to you in the first place. So your success is always this sort of catch-22 situation. And we see that again in February. Between the 13th and the 22nd, you have Jupiter and Uranus in this, repackaging and rebranding phase with you. They want to take apart what you've done so far and just rearrange it a little bit. Now, for some of you, this is a welcome change. It may come through an editor of some sort, a best friend, a professor, a parent, and others of you are doing this begrudgingly. Others of you have had now things taken away from you in a way, again, that feels very counterintuitive, because this is not Saturn, this is Jupiter. Why are you taking things from me? They're not being taken from you, they're being reformulated and fit back in a different way. Because the thing is, you recognize yourself as a certain puzzle and your pieces fit a certain way. But the truth and the reality is that you are morphing, and so each individual piece is also morphing. And so things need to be reassembled, disassembled and reassembled. In this disassembling, which generally you can say took place over this arc of Mercury retrograde, it has not been comfortable. How can you pick a direction when you're disassembling? You can't, right? It didn't keep you from beating the shit out of yourself about it, though. I'm looking at you like that because you need to stop doing that even when you're wrong. It's one thing to be nice to yourself when you're right. That's easy. But how you justify being as mean to yourself as you are when you're wrong, it's terrifying to me. It's as if you really do think that no one is allowed to make mistakes, because if you're being that hard on yourself, if you're being that hard on yourself, how hard are you being on others when they make a mistake? You know, it boggles the mind to think that you can't forgive yourself for certain things, and that you perhaps don't forgive others either. And then last thing here, people continue to notice you. Now that seems like a little, just a little note there, but it's a lot more than that, because that attention can be something really positive, or it can make you feel really pressured and closed in and like you're under a microscope. So, as your fellow water sign, Princess Diana says in the movie Spencer, when talking about the paparazzi, she says their lenses are actually microscopes. And that's very much where you are right now. You are getting a lot of attention, and it is wonderful. But the scrutiny that it comes with on a professional level and a personal level, for those of you who have strong Pisces placements, depending on which placements are there, you start to feel this sea change. And that fundamental shifting that Uranus is master of, it's very disconcerting, and it makes you feel so insecure, because where's your footing? It's one thing for other people not to be able to find their footing in your domain, but when you can't find your own footing, so it has not been easy, although I'm sure you've done a pretty good job of hiding how much doubt you've experienced. But the good news is it comes to an end. And now you must find a way to navigate a reality where you pretty much can get whatever you want. The test for you now isn't how to strive and get and achieve and accomplish. The test for you now is if you can have whatever you want. What do your choices reflect about you? What does one want if one can have anything, and what does that choice say?